So we're going to be talking about the circumference of a circle. Now note that circumference also means perimeter, okay? So the length outside of our shape. So a couple of key terms. We need to know what the circumference is, what a diameter is, and what a radius is. Now hopefully from seeing the parts of a circle, we all know what these three key words mean. So let's have a quick look. So the diameter of a circle is twice the length of a radius of a circle. So it's really important that you write this down. Okay, so pause the video if you need to and write this down. So remember that from the center of your circle, your radius goes from the center to the circumference, and your diameter goes from one side all the way to the other and touches the center. So a radius, for example, if we said that the radius is 2 centimeters, then the diameter is double that. The diameter will be 4 centimeters. Okay, so the diameter is equal to the radius times 2, and the radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2. Have a look at this question. So calculate the diameter of a circle with a radius of 4. What do you think it will be? The answer will be 8. If the radius is 4, the diameter is twice that, so therefore it's going to be 8. Have a look at this one. Calculate the radius of a circle with a diameter of 4. This is the other way around. The answer to this one will be 2. If the diameter is 4, the radius is half of that, meaning it's 2. Now, what is pi? Now, hopefully you've seen this before. So pi is an irrational number. This means that the number goes on forever, and pi can be represented by this symbol. Now, you'll need to find this symbol on your calculator. It's usually on the button where you've got close to the equal sign. It's somewhere at the bottom of your calculator, and you're most likely going to have to click shift and another button in order to get this on your calculator. But pi represented to 2 decimal places is 3.14, but it does keep going on forever and ever and ever. So circumference of a circle, you need one specific formula. It can be written out in these 3 different ways. C, meaning circumference, is equal to pi d. Now remember in algebra, when you have 2 terms together, it means that it's times, which is what this one here signifies. So circumference is equal to pi times by the diameter. And written out in words, circumference is equal to pi times diameter. It's important that you copy this down so that you know when we go on to doing some exercises what the formula is. So let's go through some examples. So find the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 4. So if the diameter is 4, and we know that the formula is circumference is equal to pi times diameter, okay, and it's told us that the diameter is 4 centimeters. So our circumference is equal to pi times by 4, okay, which in your calculator, depends how it's set, might give you an answer of 4 pi, which is obviously 4 times by pi, and then as a decimal, we'll end up with 12.45663 and so on. But we're going to round it to 1 decimal place. So if we round it to 1 decimal place, our circumference is equal to 12.6 centimeters. Remember to copy out these examples as we're going along, so do pause if necessary. Okay, next example. Find the circumference of a circle with a radius of 3. Okay, so the formula is circumference is equal to pi times by diameter. Okay, so we need the diameter. Now remember, radius is half of our diameter, so it's half of diameter. So therefore, our diameter is going to be our radius times by 2, which in this instance is 3 times 2, which gives us an answer of 6. So then we have circumference is equal to pi times by 6, which will give us an answer of 18.849 and so on. And rounded to 1 decimal place, our circumference is equal to 18.8 centimeters. Okay, now you pause this video and have a look at these 2. And try and find the answer. So the answer for the first one, you're given the diameter, so you're going to do pi times 2, which gives you that answer in your calculator, rounded to 1 decimal place is 6.3. And the second one, you're given a radius, so you have to multiply it by 2 first, and then multiply it by pi, giving you an answer rounded to 1 decimal place of 37.7 centimeters. Okay, pause this video and have a go at these questions. Okay, now mark your answers, please. Now we're going to go through example 3, which is where we're finding the circumference of a semicircle. Okay, so we know that the circumference is the perimeter that goes all the way around our shape. Okay, so our circumference is equal to pi times by diameter. Here we're given a radius, so our diameter is equal to our radius, which is 6 multiplied by 2, which gives us an answer of 12. So our circumference is equal to pi times by 12, which gives us an answer of 37.69911184. Okay, now this value here is if it was a full-on circle. Okay, but what's happened is we're going to now have to divide this number by 2. So we're going to do 37.699 and so on. Remember, don't round this just yet. We're going to have to divide it by 2. And we're going to get an answer of 18.84955592. So now what we've done is we've found half of our circle. Okay, so we found half the perimeter of our circle. Now what we have to find now is add on that extra, the diameter that goes from one side to the other, because remember the circumference is the round part of our circle. So we've now found half. So in order to find the full circumference, or perimeter shall I say, of our semicircle, we have to do our half of our circumference, which is half of it, plus our diameter. So we know our radius is 6 times by 2 gives us 12, so our diameter is 12. So we have to do 18.849 and so on, plus 12, which will give us a final circumference for the semicircle of 30.849555592 centimeters. And if we round it to one decimal place, we're going to get 30.8 centimeters for our semicircle. Now, what about if it's a quarter of a circle? So again, we're given a radius of 7, so our diameter is equal to 7 times 2, which gives us an answer of 14. Okay, and then what we have to do is pi times 14 to get our circumference. So pi times 14, which gives us an answer of 43.98229,715. Okay, now because it's a quarter of a circle, we now have to divide that number. So 43.98 and so on, we have to divide it by 4. So once we divide it by 4, we get an answer of 10.9955749. Okay, so now what we have found is we have found a quarter of our circumference, and we now need to add on our radius that goes down here and then our radius that goes this way. Okay, because remember now, instead of finding the whole circumference, we've only found a quarter, so now we have to add on those extra 2 values. So we have to do 10.99 and so on, plus 7 once, because it's that one of those sides, and then plus 7 again. So once we add 7 twice, we're going to get a final answer of 24.9955749, which rounded to one decimal place gives us an answer of 25 centimeters. Okay, now pause this video and have a go at this question. So if we were to find the circumference of this shape, we're going to have to do pi times by 6, which gives us an answer of 18.84 and so on. Okay, we then have to half it, so 18.84, we have to divide it by 2, which gives us an answer of 9.4247 and so on. Okay, and then because we have now found half of our circumference, we now need to add on our diameter of our circle. So we have to do 9.4247 and so on, plus our diameter, which is 6, which will give us an answer of 15.424777 and so on, and rounded to one decimal place, we get 15.4 centimeters. Now pause the video, have a go at this one. So for this one, we're going to have to do pi times 4, because our radius at the moment is 2, so radius is equal to 2, so our diameter is going to be equal to 4. So our circumference is pi times 4, which gives us an answer of 12.566 and so on. And we now have to divide that by 4, because we're finding a quarter of our circumference, where we get an answer of, bear with me, what's it done? We get an answer of 3.141 and so on. Okay, and now we have to add on these two sections. So we have to do 3.141 and the rest plus 2 twice, which gives us an answer of 7.1415 and so on. Rounded to one decimal place is 7.1 centimeters. Okay, now this is working backwards, so work out the diameter of the following circle. The circle has a circumference of 12 centimeters. So we know that the circumference is equal to pi times by diameter. And we're given that the circumference of the circle, so the circumference of the circle is 12 centimeters. So we know it's 12 is equal to pi times by the diameter. And now, knowing from rearranging your formula, we need to leave d on its own. At the moment, it's times onto pi. So we have to do 12 divided by pi is going to equal to d. So 12 divided by pi will give us an answer of 3.8197 is equal to diameter, and rounded to one decimal place, we're going to get 3.8 centimeters is equal to our diameter. Okay, pause this video and have a go at these questions. And I'll mark your answers.